YouTube says it's going live. It likes to do that.
Okay.
All right, YouTube should be live now.
Okay, we have Instagram for sure.
Instagram's working.
YouTube probably.
Facebook's
Facebook, I think, is Facebook's reporting to Congress right now.
Okay, apparently Facebook wanted me to push another button, so Facebook might be live now.
Yeah. All right, well, now we're just getting everything up and running here.
Definitely been in trouble. I guess we're up and everything. That was
all right, welcome everybody. This is for live chat, episode number 72. Sorry, missed a week. 1 week? Yeah.
71 was bought. It was here. 71 doesn't exist anymore.
No, it's 72 now.
It went down to Facebook.
Officially
server
72
this week.
But we used 1 week last week. This week was kind of a cluster on Monday, so we're doing it. Hopefully, people are tuning in and picked up on the fact that there's been some changes this week. I believe next week we'll be back to Monday at 11, our normal programming time and place. And as always, this is a Q&A session. Feel free to ask us anything. But the questions are around 0 through 4 motorsport products and services and about the company. And sometimes we get some great questions.
That's what somebody else just said that too. The audio is apparently terrible on YouTube.
Yeah. We're still working out some issues on YouTube. We apologize. You may want to hop over to Instagram
good elsewhere.
Or Facebook if you're able.
On YouTube? Oh, then it was just a YouTube thing. Okay. I have no idea. Nothing's changed here.
All right, so we have a bunch of questions from the last episode that we'll jump into.
No audio on Instagram.
For Christ's sakes. We're doing great. Yeah, this is a morning here. All right, hold on.
All right, let's start.
I know the cause of that one now.
Okay, Instagram.
Okay. Right? No,
we good now?
It was literally a game in here. Windows forced an update.
Okay.
Facebook decided not to work. All right. I think we got audio on Instagram.
All right. Sorry, Instagram. We're here now. Question and answer session. Ask us anything. Questions from last week are ready to go. So we're going to jump into those. So someone is saying, someone's asking, I recently bought a 2019 S5 with low mileage. How do I know, if I can tell if there's a tune on this car or not? 2019 S5. The chances are you don't, but how would they be able to tell?
I mean, it's going to be a matter of
can they
logging it and seeing what the boost is, or just going around to various tuners and being like, "Hey, am I in your records?" As being flashed. So,
well, there's probably 3 tuning companies it could be, right? Well, and I don't even know. Our tune has only been out for like 3 months, so I don't know anything about this car since even watching. So, but always find a friend with an S5 and do a quick comparison and see.
Apparently, there's more people complaining about choppy audio. I honestly don't know at this point. We're using the same stuff we always use. It's
like stop it and restart it. Oh, it's everything?
I don't know. Facebook is
that's not good.
Very happy that it's running all. Let's see. You're loud. I don't know. We're gonna have to just continue on. I guess I don't know why it's coming and going. Okay, good feeds everywhere.
Okay. I guess there was some but will it be possible for you to keep the code air suspension fully deflate when locking the vehicle using MK5? That's probably something we'll do. We'll spend time
usually all that's in a completely separate module. It's nothing to do with the ECU. It's a completely independent controller. So, no. Airing out when you lock up is not something.
Is there like we could install like a solenoid valve that like opens when power is turned off to the ignition and the car just deflates?
Yep. So you got that's just with my car set itself down on a curb and like rip the front bumper off because the air's out. Like,
Oh yeah, they would have to.
all that happen too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're probably not going to do that. What we'll do is offer these lowering links, which we have released for some applications, and we will continue to release more. Any plans for additional sizes, offsets for the ZTF forged wheel line? Yeah, so we're coming out with. I mentioned Nick was here. This is kind of Nick's area, but we're releasing
by 10 ET32.
21 by 10 for ET32 for
B9 SQ5 B8.
yeah B9 SQ5, some B9 SQ5.
B8
I'm sorry, B8 and B9 SQ5 applications.
in andesite and satin black.
Yeah, so in anthracite, which is our current color, and satin black, which is just a really nice kind of. It's not glossy, it's not flat, it's a satin. And actually, really, I'm not a fan of black wheels, but I think I like the satin color, which is why I agreed to it. And then we have this upcoming line of ZTF flowform wheels, or low pressure cast wheels. Flowform is another way to say low pressure cast. And our goal is to release those early next year in Q1. They are currently being manufactured right now. They will be a much lower price point than our forged wheels. They will be more traditional, kind of like $1,200 to $1,500 a set price point for a lot of the wheels. And we're bringing in 4 different colors. Finally, you guys will have color options. It's a huge investment for us, massive chunk of money to not only tool up and then purchase these wheels. But we're really excited to do it. We're confident that these flowform wheels will compete with anything on the market. Specifically, we're designing them not to bend. A lot of the flowform wheels out there are kind of disposable. You just bend them and buy a new one every year. That was our experience running some of the very popular flowform options out there. So we're working a lot in FEA to get the lowest weight but keep the strength really high, and we're confident that we'll have a very strong wheel. It won't be as strong as our forged wheels. Our forged wheels, I've never seen or heard of one bending yet. We've never bent one. They're extremely strong. The kind of street and track driving we used to do and bending these flowform wheels, and our forged wheels have never done it. So, anyways, that's what's coming. Let's see.
I think I see why our audio is garbage.
Yeah?
It's YouTube strangling everything because it's being piped through a browser. Yeah, it's across everything because it's killing this computer. So give me 1 second, guys. I got to stop sometime and restart.
I could start doing like sign language, but I'm not very good. So
Practice your ASL.
yeah, I'm not good with technical sign language. Just regular sign language. Oh great, someone's calling me. Wonderful.
That's what we need.
So let's just hang tight for a minute.
That might have done it. Let's see.
This whole thing kind of reminds me of the new website we're launching,
Oh my god. I don't even want to talk
Up
about
and
that.
down.
where it's like, hey, it's working. Oh no, so much stuff's broken. Hey, we fixed some things. Oh, some other things are broken. Oh. People have been messaging me like, hey, your website's slow, or this or that. I'm like, yeah, no, I know.
One of our competitors still has no website. It's still better than that.
I know. We are actually working on our website, and it's live, and
It's not a screen
we've
that says
we've
it will be up.
our website's only been down for like 3 hours in the last
I'm gonna
5
murder
years.
this thing. Now it won't start the camera that it's always started.
I'll just like start the whole thing over.
I'm about to.
I mean, my limited computer troubleshooting expertise says just restart the whole thing.
OBS killing CPU typical.
What's that?
OBS killing CPU.
No, it's not. It's Chrome. It's because Facebook's requiring me to pipe it through the browser.
Oh, is it?
Hang tight, guys. I think they might be able to still hear us.
Can we confirm? Are we audible on any platform? Because
We turned this into a podcast instead of a live
I'm about to start watching TikTok videos while Nate's working
Yeah,
on
we
this.
can.
All right.
Yeah.
So you got audio.
On which one?
I think it should be everything.
Really? Okay. Why don't I just keep going? Should I?
I don't know. It's I have no idea why. It's probably Facebook killing me again. Oh man.
Yes, sir. I do hear you. Audio is good on YouTube.
No, yeah, audio's good everywhere, but yeah.
Podcast now. Audio good now without video.
Yep, I'm aware.
Good, we know that.
That lines up with everything I see here. Yeah, the only way it's letting me change it now is if I end the Facebook video, which I might have to do. So
Can you just end it and then restart it?
I can
And
try.
If you're on Facebook, you know,
Tune in a second.
Tune back in.
Hopefully.
these have gone so well.
Dude.
70 plus episodes. It's like they keep changing shit though. Man, Facebook, they changed all the how the groups work now. It's so fucked up. The moderation is like completely fucked
I have
up.
to bring everything down. This is. Oh. Let's see.
Instagram videos back up.
Yep, Instagram and YouTube are back up. Facebook is.
Well, you knew Facebook was going to be a problem.
Yep.
Coming into this.
I think we're gonna have to pull the plug on Facebook for this one. That's causing all of the problems here.
I don't know if you want to go post in the customer group and say go to Instagram
Or
I don't
YouTube.
know. YouTube.
YouTube, it looks like it's still the OBS screen.
It takes a minute. It's got a pretty
Right.
good delay.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, everyone. We're having technical difficulty with Facebook
Yeah.
this morning, and I can say Facebook's been hell lately. They keep changing all this stuff, and I don't know what the fuck's going on over there. It's like being run by algorithms and robots.
But yeah, no, Facebook, we are unable to push our normal video stream up, so we were trying to do it through basically a Chrome tab, and that just brought everything to its knees. So yeah, sorry about that. We're back up on YouTube and Instagram, and I guess that's where we're at today.
Yeah. All right, let's continue. I don't know if there's been any new questions that have come in.
A few.
Yeah, why isn't your audio working?
Let's see. Thinking about tuning my B9 3.0T with your software, what can you guys say about your software and why is it better, especially with R2.0? We've covered this topic a lot in other live chats. So again, I don't think this person is watching right now, but basically the 2.0, we did a bunch of refinements.
Yep.
So there was a surging issue and top gear, like cruising on the freeway, which has been addressed. Now this is an issue where there's a cam changeover.
It was a number. It was a number.
It's a
of
number of
things.
things.
Like it was such a small window that it happened in. It was like 1700 to 1800 RPM at super light load, usually in cruise, and usually depending on road gradient and whatnot. So this is stuff like that we're trying to.
I mean, it's there. This dynamic of this oscillation is happening in the factory as well, but with our tune, the parameters we change, it became more noticeable. So it's gonna be as good as it gets. This is definitely in other tunes on the market as well, and it's not unique to our tuning, but that was addressed. What else, Nate? There was a bunch of stuff.
Well, we're always in the seesaw of crackle adjustments.
Yeah, there was crackle adjustments.
Some people want more, some people want less. Some people say, "Oh my God, it's too much." Some people are, still want more. So,
and so many people are like, "It's amazing, it's perfect, I love it."
Overall, I think it's in a good place now.
I saw a video yesterday of someone like giggling and laughing in ecstasy how good the crackles were, and then the next post is, "I hate these crackles."
Right. So and this is a struggle we always have. Thankfully, on these cars, it's easy to turn them on and off. You can set
and
up different modes.
We did add that option.
You can basically have everything but the crackles, So it's it's something we always struggle with. It's a very subjective thing. So.
Yeah. What else? Shifting.
Shift improvements,
changes.
some improvements in the way the shifts are carried out and the way torque is applied primarily after the shift.
Improvements in launch control.
Launch control setting changes. This is all on the ECU side too. So there's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of shows you how much interaction there is with the ECU and the TCU and why you kind of have to match them or do it, try and do it right on both. They very heavily will affect each other and how the shifting and drivability is.
And then we included an optimization for stage 1 plus. So what this means is that if you have our stage 1 and you install an intake and intercooler, you're now technically in our universe, you're 1+, and the ECU is now optimized for that. So the ECU, through its mapping and inputs, knows and senses the increase in airflow and cooling, and it unleashes quite a bit more power. And so it actually gets you pretty close to stage 2 power without having to do the high flow cat, which I think for a lot of people is not a great thought, because that is for racing use only, to remove your factory cat. And there's definitely power to be had if you're racing and you remove the cat and install like our high flow cat, for example. But about half of the power gain you can have on stage 1+, and so that's built in now. You don't have to buy it. You don't even have to load it. The ECU will adapt and adjust the tuning parameters for that increase in airflow. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. I believe. Did we must have published.
Oh yeah, no, it went out. It went out as a huge email
Yeah.
to. We tried to hit everybody that had flashed that file.
Yeah, but if you don't have it, how do you know what's in the update?
It was posted on Audizine, Facebook.
Yeah.
You,
So
we had a pretty
maybe
big
I would
base.
say just go on Google and Google 034 Motorsport B9. And we have a blog on our website. It's all there, so you can read about it. I'll just state confidently that our B9 tuning is the best on the market. Our B9 S4 S5 3.0T tuning is the best on the market, and we've now proven that we support it within 3 months of releasing it. We came out with a new update. We addressed any issues. We added more features and functionality, and we have a whole bunch more stuff planned. And again, once you buy our file, you don't have to pay for any of these updates. We continue to develop the ECU for free to anyone who owns it. I don't know. It's possible someday we'll do something that took so much work and investment that we'll charge for it. But that hasn't happened.
That hasn't happened, and I mean, we even if you look back to the B8, some of the others, the amount of features and additions and octanes and
Oh no, yeah. I mean,
and
we've transformed that
improvements
thing.
we've given out, to anybody that adopted it at any time.
Yeah. And we're actually, actively drag racing cars too to show you guys how fast these can go. So stay tuned for some exciting times. A lot of you guys have run some really fast times, really fast 0 to 60 times, and some really quick quarter-mile times. Some cars just bone stock with just a stage 1 flash are what are we seeing?
Mid 11s.
Yeah, 11.6, 11.7, 11.8 on a bone stock car with stock tires and wheels and tires and everything. So it's an incredible platform. Where there was a lot of talk about the stock turbo's too small, you can't make any power with it. I mean, you can't make 600 horsepower with it, but you can make a lot of power. We are doing.
Yeah, we're limited by the turbo right now, but it's still a hell of a lot of power.
The car is
it's
substantially faster. Yeah, it's a fast car now compared to the stock car, which is peppy.
And you're running mid 11s with a flash. That was like it's basically unheard of. Like,
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Like in B5 S4 days, you'd be like
B5? Yeah, right.
You'd be like 30, 40 grand into the car to get it to mid 11s, and then you'd smoke your clutch on the third run and break an axle or something.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's these times we live in now. These motors are we're all getting spoiled, each new generation with what these things can do, and I think it takes it's good to kind of step back and realize where things are at.
Yeah.
I think everybody's expecting 9s, 10s, and whatnot just with software, but it's
I mean, and the cars will get there. They'll dip down into the low 10s and 9s with, they'll be like light, lightweight weight reduction.
5-10 years ago that was unheard of. It's incredible the rate of
No, it's insane. It's
the rate of increase in speed, time.
A lot of it's just fueled by these transmissions. They're so good. They're fueled by the fuel injection system, but the results are fueled by the transmissions.
Through the transmission, yep.
Shifting fast and easily. As much as people love manuals, they're not fast. They're not faster. There are much faster ways to go. I mean, F1 cars haven't had manual transmissions for decades, for a reason. So, anyways, someone's asking, would you say the stock turbo on the B9 S4 is maxed out at this point? Absolutely. our stage 2 with the 85 is pretty much maxing it out, and it's putting down about 600 foot-pounds of torque, and about 450 plus horsepower.
Yeah,
so it's at its safe, usable, optimized airflow limit.
Yeah, I mean, we could run more boost, we could run more, but the turbo, we've tried, the turbo just makes more heat and you don't get anything more out of it. So I mean, from an efficiency and a power production standpoint, we're in a really good place with the stock turbo.
Yeah, this is something we've talked about. More boost does not always mean more power. Up to a certain point, there is a curve where you can gain more power by raising the boost. But if you want to know how turbos work, read up on turbo compressor flow maps, and that'll tell you everything you need to know. And so there is a map with gradient lines that shows the efficiency at various flow points and pressures that a turbo can operate at. And you'll see right in the middle, so if you were looking at a little mountain, it would be the very top, highest elevation, but that little spot in the middle is peak flow, pressure, and efficiency, which means that the turbo will work most efficiency or produce the least amount of heat. And then you'll just see that map go up, and as the pressure and flow increase, the efficiency drops. And so we're at that point now where we're on the right side of the compressor map, and that's why you want to run an intercooler on stage 2, because even though the turbo is producing a lot more flow, it's doing it with more heat. That's the cost. There's no free lunch. And so it's heating up the air more, and that means you need the intercooler to take the heat back out. So anyways, are the crackles safe for the OE downpipe on B9 3.0T? Why, and what gains do you really see with the downpipe? I just kind of talked about that.
Yeah, I think you covered that pretty well. The downpipe, and you can see the difference the downpipe makes on our dyno charts. That's all there.
I mean, it's another 10, 15 horsepower.
Yeah, it's there. It's not huge, but it's there.
It's not going to transform the driving experience, but if you want another 10 or 15 horsepower, that's how you get it.
As far as the crackles being safe, yeah, I mean the OE, the factory has crackle overrun. It's all it's all there from the factory. We adjust some of the parameters, but all of the safeguards around it are still there. We don't alter any of that.
Yeah, it's a factory feature.
And or we actually make it. We'll adjust it oftentimes more conservatively than the OEM in some cases. So
yeah, and you want to hear aggressive crackles? Go drive a GT3 RS. That's a factory car with cats.
Yeah,
and those crackles will rip your whole face off.
So yeah, I mean we haven't seen any detriment or any problems with it at this point, and don't have any reason to suspect there would be.
Yeah, and we wouldn't offer it if it. I mean, we're not in the business of like, hey, here's a cool feature, and by the way, it's going to destroy your $3,000 cat.
Right.
That's not.
There are platforms like on the B8 where we turned it off just because those catalysts, they fall apart stock every which way. So it was literally trying everything we could to prolong the life on a normal file.
Is it worth investing in your sway bar end links? This is also a popular topic that we've covered, but I'd say in most cases, absolutely. So, for example, in the B8 application with the rear sway bar, your factory end links will break. Guaranteed, they'll snap in half. Our bar is like, I don't know, it's hundreds of % stiffer than the factory bar, and so the factory end links simply will not hold up. This is also the case to maybe a slightly lesser degree with MQB. Those factory end links will break with our rear sway bar. So I would say in a lot of the cases that we offer our end links, they're substantially stronger than factory. But many of our end links, I'd say at least 75% of them are adjustable. And so that allows you to take out any preload on the sway bar. What preload means is if you install the sway bar and you mount the middle portion of the sway bar to the chassis, and you hook up one side on the right hand suspension. And when you go to connect the left hand link, the sway bar and the end link don't quite line up. And so you have to either push the sway bar down or lift the car up, or you have to apply some amount of force to get the end link to go into the sway bar. What you are now doing is you're putting a preload on the sway bar, and that's applying a force to your suspension. This is not something that you want. This is either going to raise your car some amount, or it could even lower it. I don't, depending on which way. It's going to apply this kind of force, and you're going to have this spring force static on your suspension. You don't want that. So with our end links, you can just simply adjust the length of the end link to connect to the sway bar and ensure there's no preload. So those are the main reasons. And then there's a third reason that some of the factory sway bars are worse than others in this regard, but most all have rubber bushings in them, and these rubber bushings squish and deflect. And so if your car leans, and let's say that bushing and the end links squish a 1/4 inch, that's a 1/4 inch more lean, or a 1/4 inch less effectively your sway bar can apply force to the suspension. So we stiffen the bushings or remove them in many cases to allow your sway bar to react and function more optimally. And we offer 2 different lines of sway bar end links. We offer our Dynamic Plus end links, which we consider OEM Plus factory upgrades. They have dust boots on them. They're designed to be driven in rain and salt. They're better performance than factory, definitely stronger, but they leave some compromises to make them more streetable. And then we have a line that we call our Motorsport end links, and these are for someone who's not concerned as much for NVH. These feature adjustable heims and rod ends that will need to be changed out probably once a year. But these have 0 deflection, 0 slop, all the adjustability, and offer superior performance. So if you're doing like track day stuff and performance is really your main concern, then check out our Motorsport stuff. Both are great upgrades for factory. Hi, how long do you anticipate it will take to have suspension upgrades and tuning put together for the 2022 RS3 TTRS? Well, it's going to be a year or two, and I don't think you'll see a lot from any tuners in the next few months anyways. I know there's one car was reported here in the Bay Area.
For an S3, yeah.
For the S3.
Yeah,
We
not
haven't
the
even
R.
seen this car yet.
Yeah.
The 8Y S3 has been delivered across the customers.
The S3, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the RS3 is not even here. Yeah, sorry, I was talking about the S3. So the S3 is just showing up, which everyone's just now seeing it. And the RS3, we don't even know when it's coming. And I know what local Volkswagen dealership, the new Mark 8, GTI and Golf are supposed to be here at some point, but they don't know when because of all the worldwide supply chain logistics disruptions. So I would say probably the TTRS RS3 you're looking at late 2022 and really 2023 to really start seeing some stuff. Of course, it depends on how much stuff crosses over.
Right.
If it's
depending on how much we can.
These are still technically MQB cars, so a lot of the stuff, some amount of the parts will work, but presumably other. And then I don't know, we don't know what ECU it's running or anything like that.
In the States, no. I mean,
it should be the same. I mean, roughly the same.
I've seen both. I've seen some images that are the later MG1 style.
Really? You think it could be?
So it could go either way. I don't know. It's one of those things we try and speculate, but until they land here with the exact US spec, it's
I would say don't get your hopes up too quickly on that car's not even here yet. So once it hits, you're typically looking at about a year to see most products start hitting the market. So some of the products we develop are quicker than others, but tuning is going to be unless it's the same exact generation ECU as the current TTRS RS3 Daza, then it's going to be delayed some amount. What is AMAX? That'd be a good thing for you to jump on, Nate.
AMAX is basically a abbreviation for acceleration maximum, or, basically maximum acceleration effort, and that it's a mode that is generally there on a lot of the performance model S and RS cars. It does trickle down depending on what transmission and software is in. It'll be on some of the A series as well. But basically, it just changes. Usually, it changes the shift strategy of the transmission, where it'll do either no or a much reduced torque reduction between gears. So it's more aggressive on the clutches, more more of a kind of a rubber bandy feel, because it kind of has to, you're going from one gear to the next without lifting your foot off the gas, essentially is what it's doing. So it kind of has to like merge that gear change without pulling back any power from the ECU.
Yeah, and the first time I felt an AMAX shift, it gave me the same cringy feeling as like a slipping clutch.
Yeah, and this is what it has to do, because it's literally trying to blend between two clutches or two gears with the clutches only, and the ECUs, the engine's still kind of trying to go full boogie. So it's there as a maximum acceleration mode, and generally that's the mode you'll be in if you're launching the car. You'll notice the shifts feel different. That's what that is.
Yeah, cool. All right, that's AMAX. Anything exciting coming for the MK5 Supra? That is not currently on our radar. It's possible some of our upcoming BMW products will cross over, but we can't speak to that yet.
Yep.
I'm going to start doing some of the newer questions since those people are actually here. What's the history behind the color scheme of 034? So I don't know if some of you have seen the original 034 Motorsport logo was the 034, and then the Motorsport was stepped down. Similar font, although this is more, our new current font is more italicized.
Yeah, I don't know if we have any old logos kicking around here.
Yeah.
that would be visible.
And then there was a double yellow swoosh that went behind the 034 Motorsport logo. And I think if you just go Google 034 Motorsport, and if you click on image search, some of our old project cars and stuff will pop up. But the double yellow swoosh, when I originally designed the logo, represented the double yellow lines on a road. And so the yellow came, that kind of bright, vibrant yellow came from the double yellow lines on a road. So that's a great question. I appreciate that.
And that's a new one. We haven't had that one.
Yeah,
where's your name come from?
We've kept the yellow, like even our coffee mugs are yellow, and now, we do represent our logo in different colors. We're not like militaristic about everything having to be yellow, but it is an underlying theme. And the fact that someone would even ask that question shows that
it's hanging on.
It's showing, yeah. So, thoughts on the C20 LET engines?
Some Vauxhall engine.
I don't know what that is.
16 valve, 2-liter, 4-cylinder.
Have you ever heard of that name?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Sounds cool. We'll have to look it up. Can't speak to it. What else? What is rapid prototyping? How do you use it to your advantage? Well, rapid prototyping is a process of using some of the new technology out there to create products to test, and part of the prototyping process. There didn't really used to be anything known as rapid prototyping. Like 30 years ago, it was, if you wanted to prototype something, you had to machine it out of aluminum or cast it or, whittle it out of wood or make it out of clay or something. And, those weren't like real quick processes. So now, once you're in the CAD environment and you have a model, physical model in the computer, instead of going to a CNC machine and machining one so that you can test fit it or flow it or just interact with it, you can just print it. Everyone's heard of 3D printing, and so that's a key part of rapid prototyping is 3D printing. There's actually all types of 3D printing. You can 3D print virtually any material now. There's food 3D printing.
Yeah, chocolate.
You can literally 3D print a steak.
A house. The
You
housing.
can 3D print houses. I've seen houses. Cars have been like 3D printed.
Yeah, SEMA had a car 3 or 4 years ago that was 3D printed.
Yeah.
Atri 3D prints wheels now.
Yeah, wheels.
Yeah, certainly
exhaust,
aluminum.
Basically any engine component these days.
Any kind of metal you can 3D print. We'll post about this, but we recently 3D printed some aluminum exhaust tips for our S4.0T, and we worked with one of our old engineers that used to work here. His name's Dimitri. He's awesome, super nice guy. His head looks like a mop, curly mop.
Yep.
But no, he's got access to these 3D printers, and so we created a design that was implausible to manufacture virtually any other way. This is not something you could machine or even cast, and so we kind of took advantage of what's so great about 3D
Yeah,
printing.
and that's more rapid manufacture, where it's not even a prototype; it's a functional working end product. Where the only way you can make it is through these newer, three-dimensional methods.
But it's also great if you want to test an exhaust manifold. You can 3D print one. It's like $5,000, and then once you determine it's what you want, you can cast it for $500. But so anyways, this is an example of something we did recently. This is an intake for S4.0T. We needed something in a pinch, and so our engineering team whipped this up. And this is actually 3D printed out of a rubberized material. So I don't know if you can see, but it's soft and squishy, like a rubber hose would be, or silicone. And so, yeah, I mean, all of our products at some point, just about all of our products are 3D printed and rapid prototyped so that we can test them. Things like this brake rotor, not so much. But yeah, I mean, you could even 3D print this hat to make sure the offset's correct and everything. So yeah, that's how we use it, and generally we use it for engineering validation. I like to equate it to, like, if you've written some document and at some point you want to print it out and read it, and like sometimes I like to just mark stuff up because I'm old. You can do that, and it's kind of similar to 3D printing. So, all right, B9.5 3.0 ETA. This
as soon as possible.
We're working on it. This is and the delay has ended up. The tune is actually done.
We're in a good place there.
Yeah.
It's
just getting our server updated to be able to flash. And so there's tuning, and then there's flashing. They're two completely separate things. Yeah. And so we can do the tuning and calibration, and we can have it running on a car here, and we can flash that car here with our tools.
Yeah.
But for you to flash it at home is a whole nother story. And so that's what we're working on. We don't have a solid ETA, unfortunately. No. We really wanted to have this out by now. It hurts us as much as anyone not to have it. So, 034 Motorsport Fall Fest. Honestly, I haven't thought about it too much, just because around here things are still. I mean, we're not shut down, but there's mask mandates, and the numbers are coming down. But we're gearing up to go to SEMA soon, and I think fall's gonna be over.
Yeah, we're plowing through fall like it's nothing. I didn't even know fall.
October's basically over.
Chilly.
November is gonna be so. But if you're local, we will be having, and maybe this will kind of tie into Fall Fest. So we have a new service location in San Jose. It's called ZTF Automotive, and we're rebranding our whole automotive service business as ZTF Automotive, which is 034. See that? And so we're not, that location in San Jose is now open. It's at Club Autosport. It's really cool if you've never been there.
Beautiful facility.
It's a motorsport car obsessed facility.
Geekdom. Yeah.
There's like a lot of people with man caves there, just filled with like vintage cars and Ferraris and Lamborghinis, anything you can imagine. And Club Sportiva's there, where you can become a member and rent and drive supercars and all kinds of cars. You could rent an E30 M3. Really cool stuff. Just about everything. It's a true car obsessed place. And so we will be having an open house in mid-November, so about a month from now. So stay tuned for that.
Size of that whole facility? I mean, it's a big.
Oh, it's big. I mean, it's like it's like 2 Home Depots or something.
Yeah, a couple 100,000 square feet, probably.
Probably. I mean, I think there's probably
like it's
80 units,
and it's built just for this. Its entire purpose was car enthusiasts.
Yeah, you can look it up. You can Google Club Autosport Santa Clara, and it's kind of down by the San Jose Airport. So really cool location. It's about 15-20 minutes from here. And so if you're in the San Jose area, you now have a really convenient, close location. The techs from this facility work down there. We've created this really fluid system where it's kind of like one service department, and then we just book you at whatever location is most convenient for you. But you're going to get the same quality, the same service.
All the same tools.
Sonu manages both locations. It's us. I mean, it's all the same equipment as we have here. So we're really excited. But we will be having an open house for that. So hopefully, if you're local and you want to come out and I don't know if we won't be doing a car show or a lot of that stuff, but I'll definitely cook something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be fun. I think I'll do a big pot of chili like always. How do you guys feel about meth injection on the B9 series engines with your tune?
I mean, it's no different than any other series engines. Meth. I mean, it depends on the fuel and the octanes available to you. It's kind of a love-hate thing. We don't calibrate for it in almost ever, because meth systems are inherently, I haven't seen one yet that's been 100% reliable. So to completely rely on a meth system is pretty dicey for us to calibrate to.
Yeah.
And then, outside of that, it's a completely uncontrolled injection system that the ECU basically knows nothing about. So we have to completely depend on however you've got something set up and how it's spraying, what the atomization looks like, what the flow rates are. So, they work. They in most cases, it can help soften some knock activity. If you've got some knock activity, it can falsely lower your air intake temps by evaporative cooling on the intake temp sensor. So,
and we've talked about that before. Is you can just trick the ECU into thinking the air is cooler than it is, and it ends up giving more timing. And that can make some more power, but you really run the risk of detonation. And I mean, for us, I think the only way we would do it is if we offered a water meth kit and we could kind of control that.
Yeah, it would have to be, and it gets really tricky because you've got to get into either pulsed injection stuff, which isn't very common with meth injection,
right?
Or have some sort of metering feedback loop.
But honestly, in our experience, our recommendation is it's really not worth messing with.
We've seen very little real world
E85 is so much better.
Right.
It's so much better. Yeah. So get into get an E85 tune, get E85. If you don't have it in your area, I don't know, order a 55-gallon drum every month, and then you just fill your tank with it, or you do an E40 blend or whatever, we specify. And you're not going to make more power with water meth than you will with E85. And honestly, in our experience, water injection doesn't really do anything. And water meth, the meth gives you an octane.
The meth will give you a little bit of an octane bomb and a bit more cooling. Some guys, it's helped on the B8s a little bit more just because they're so intercooler limited.
Yeah.
It's helped a little bit there on some, but again, if you're running E40 or the higher octane stuff, it's pretty minimal.
Yeah. Anything new coming out for the B8 S4 platform?
Yeah, we've got more. We're still working on software updates on that platform as well.
Tuning and software.
Again, for supplemental fueling and some other hardware that's coming out on the market.
We have our universal fuel surge tank coming soon, which is just you'll have to run the lines and stuff, but we'll give you all the basics to do it.
There's some engine hardware.
Yes, we're working on some really exciting engine internals type stuff. We're not saying too much about it yet. I mean, we're coming out with rods. That's
a given. Yeah, we've got some other stuff that's like power adder stuff.
Yeah,
we're
excited about that.
Doing more and more testing with here very soon. Yeah. So the B8's definitely not dead. We're actively working on it.
I was crunching some numbers recently. B8 products are 40% of our revenue, so it's a big part of what we do.
Yep.
And that's why it's important to us, and that's why we're nowhere near done with B8. So, and I think we're pretty proud of how far we've pushed the B8 platform in the last couple of years, and we want to continue doing that. How do you speed up shifting with B9 S4 software?
I spoke a little bit about this in the beginning, but it's a very tightly controlled dance between the ECU and the TCU, where one will request certain amount of torque, and the other has to try and use it or account for that. The way that's done, we have control over how much torque can go back and forth between the two, how quickly you can apply or remove torque between the two, and mapping all that and calibrating all that is really where the shift speed improvement comes from.
Yeah.
So it's just optimizing the control speeds basically between the two of them. Yeah, I'm not sure how better to explain that, but it's we're the OEM designs it for a very squishy, unintrusive, not very 99% of the population wants it to feel like this kind of thing, where it's a very smooth and slow,
Dumbed down,
dumbed
really,
down,
yeah.
just gradual shift. Whereas we can make that much more of a a sporty gear change, where it's actually changing gears and giving you the power back right away.
Yeah, and I mean, guys, we're gonna make the car shift fast. You're gonna feel the shifts, and I saw some complaints recently. Someone was like, "Oh, the shifts are so like you can feel them." It's like, yeah, this is a performance tune. You want to go faster, that's what happens. So if you want it to feel like a Mercedes, where you
Like a
can't
stock
feel the
S4,
shifts, or
yeah.
like a stock S4, that's not what we're selling.
Yeah.
And we could break your neck, and we're not doing that either. So, but this is what we would consider an optimized, smooth, aggressive performance tune.
Yeah.
And you're gonna feel the shifts, and you're supposed to. That means that the transmission is spending less time, smoothing out the forces between one gear and the next, and it's just like you're in this gear. You're in this gear now.
Yeah, and even in some of these latest changes, it was the the engine was very gradual on how it was applying power and how the power delivery was happening after the gear change. So we spent a bunch of time fixing that or adjusting that, remapping that. So that's where a lot of that comes from.
Yeah. Let's just dovetail into this. Something about launch control.
You see anything? I don't know if it got removed.
Oh, can you give a brief explanation on how launch control works on the six-speed manual B8.5 S4?
Yeah, so we on those cars we added, we call it advanced launch control for all of the B8 3 liters, DSG or manual. So on the manual, you want to have your cruise control stalk in the on position, and anytime you're stopped, you'll hear the fans come up. That means the advanced launch is basically doing what it can to cool down the intake charge proactively. It's going to run the intercooler pump full speed and the fans full speed. And then to enable launch control, basically it's just depress the clutch, depress the gas, and it's going to come up and sit at a specified RPM. And then you can adjust that RPM point with the cruise control stalk by bumping it up or down. Nick put a video together on YouTube that kind of runs you through all that.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the YouTube video, go watch that.
Yeah, but it's basically, traction control off, cruise control mode set to on, and anytime you're at a stop, you with a clutch in, you'll be able to have launch available to you. So, yep.
And then it's up to you how you let the clutch out.
Yeah, that's going to be up to you. The clutch release, obviously, that's mechanical control.
You can
by
just
your legs.
sidestep it, or you can kind of feather it out.
Yep. I know a lot of guys have been setting up and finding that launch RPM where they can basically sidestep the clutch and go.
Yeah.
That's been the most consistent to them. And then you can vary the amount that it, basically the amount of power offline, but with your right foot and the amount of throttle application.
My watch is telling me it's time to stand up. Okay.
Thanks.
Are there any benefits to a larger throttle body on a dual pulley car without a ported blower? Yeah, definitely. I mean, all of our published numbers are not ported. Our advertised numbers.
Those I think those were on a ported blower, but it's
the ones on our website. Oh, which car?
Yeah.
Oh, we put
we were just trying to show the difference, but yes, there is some difference for sure. The ported blowers are not. I mean, we're not talking like a 50, 100 horsepower change here. It's just another incremental, efficiency improvement. There's still a pressure difference between the throttle body that the bigger throttle body and the stock one. It's fairly substantial. So yeah, there's going to be some difference, and you just get a little more with each, optimization you make down the line. But
it still makes power.
It still makes power. It's Yeah, I mean
The ported blower just gives you more flow.
of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's
But all the power from the throttle body isn't from the ported blower. So each piece adds some flow, and there's a corresponding power gain.
yep.
Opinions on RedStar downpipes? Not really. They're a competitor.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally hundreds of downpipe manufacturers out there.
Yeah. I would strongly recommend our high flow cap products over anyone else's on the market. We use premium quality Euro 3 and Euro 4
Depending on
catalysts, depending on the application. Most of our newer stuff is Euro 4. And in all of our testing, we basically determine that it's, with the configurations that we offer, it flows as much as a test pipe for all practical purposes. So, and it's again a Euro 4 rating. So it's running quite clean out the tailpipe while you're racing. So, for B9 3.0T Stage 3, what turbos are you looking at offering? We currently have a TTE 710 and a Pure 750 here that we will be using for development purposes, and we will likely be offering tunes for both. No ETA, but hopefully early half of next year.
Yep.
That's our goal. At what point do I need to worry about corner balancing in RS3? Currently doing regular track days, HPDEs. I don't, it's not something you need to worry about. It's a matter of just if you want to optimize the car, especially if you have coilovers, this can be an issue. Obviously, you can't really corner balance if you don't have coilovers, but if you want the car to turn and respond the same way while you're turning left and right, then it's a good idea to do it. And you can accommodate your weight in the car as well, so that your car's not kind of sitting a little lower on one side. It's not going to be transformative to how the car drives and handles, but it's one of those things that you can do along with getting alignments. It's something that we offer here. Our alignment rack can determine that. So I wouldn't lose sleep over it, but if you're in getting alignment and the shop does it, it's worth having it done. How do you see 034 evolving as hybrid and electric vehicles become more prevalent?
Yep. There's lots we can do with them still.
We're very excited and prepared to tune EVs and to offer many of the same types of products that we do now, not exhaust systems and intakes, obviously. Right. The thing about EV is it's still a ways out, and there's a lot of talk about it. Way less than 5% of the cars on the road are EV.
Yeah, and everybody's getting scared by all these mandates that they're not going to be selling any new EVs in the next 10 years out or whatever. But
internal combustion engines.
Yes. I'm sorry. Of course they're selling EVs, new ICE engines. That's 10 years out probably at earliest.
Yeah.
And then our typical product cycle or whenever as we're working through the cars and the cars are being tuned and modified is generally another 5 to 10 years through beyond. So we're talking 20 to 30 years. Of internal combustion effort still.
8% of our sales right now, because we're seeing this analysis, is B5 products.
God.
So that's basically 20-year-old and older cars. The brand new S3 just hit, which is internal combustion. The new RS3 TTRS is hitting, that's internal combustion. So Audi's going to continue to release ICE engines for the next 5+ years. That means we've got, this industry, if other tuners are like us, they've got another 5-10 years of solid EV market. ICE markets to work with. Now, EV will be an opportunity for us to tap into. We are already starting to. Yep. So we have an ID3 in our group that we're evaluating for products, and the factory ECUs are still torque based ECUs, and they use roughly the same technology as the ICE ECUs.
Yeah.
So when Audi puts a powertrain in a car, and from an engineering standpoint, they don't really care how the power is produced. Whatever engine or motor is in that car creates torque. And so the ECU is managing the amount of torque that's being produced, and they can use the same basic control strategies as internal combustion or EV.
Yep.
So that means we can tune those. It means we could even offer higher power motors. We could play with the battery packs. We can sell thicker cables to allow more current, like Tesla does. When you give them $20,000 for the Plaid option, you get a flash and a thicker power cable.
Yeah.
And then certainly wheel, suspension, brake,
all the
handling
fancy
mods.
stuff. My e-golf is going through some stuff right now in the harder developments. So we were actively and currently working on the EV platforms as well.
And we're very well poised to take on EV because of our extensive and deep engineering talent here at the company. There's probably 2 or 3 companies in the Volkswagen Audi aftermarket right now that are even close to being prepared for that to come on. But again, the good news is there's going to be plenty of ICE business for another 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
But on the opportunity side, EV will represent a growing opportunity. The other big issue is, the average automotive enthusiast loves internal combustion. They're not EV people. I know there's a couple guys out there racing Teslas, and you go to a track day with 100 cars there, and there are 2 guys there with Teslas. Okay, well, that's nice, but that a market does not make. And so the average EV buyer does not care about performance, and it's the average ICE buyer doesn't care about performance. It's even substantially less for EV. So I think that's also a factor that we will see automotive enthusiasts rush to existing internal combustion applications. We're already seeing that. In the vintage 80s and 90s cars have skyrocketed in value. All internal combustion sports cars are skyrocketing in value, and this is the result of people wanting ICE engines in their cars. And so I think the kind of vintage restoration market of 10, 20, 30-year-old cars will continue to grow, and we're very well poised for that as well. So, and I think EV is an opportunity, but there's a lot of hype around it right now, and nobody's paying the bills with EV right now. There's probably a couple shops that are seeing some level of success.
There are a couple that are EV only or very specialized for sure.
I don't know how successful or profitable they are right now, but
it's not a huge market.
But yeah, I mean, it's literally a handful of companies out of millions. So.
Yep.
Anyways, great question. I think we're pretty much wrapping up.
We're basically done.
Sorry, this was a
little
chalky show. Thanks to Facebook. I think Zuck got in there and kind of fucked some shit up. So
there were some more cords.
Yeah.
So
that's probably what happened.
But yeah, thanks for hanging with us. Those that did, and maybe had to pinball through some platforms to see our wonderful faces again. But we'll hopefully it'll be smoother next week. We'll see what Facebook's got in store for us.
We'll be back Monday, and we'll see you all then. Thanks again for joining us. Cheers.
Take care.